Since 1983, FAME has helped business and education work for Maine. Contact the authority, the Finance Authority of Maine. You're watching Mainebiz Sunday, Maine's business news source.
Welcome back. It's Rapid Fire Sunday, and sticking around with us to dissect the issues impacting Maine's business community, we have John Mahon, Professor of Management at the University of Maine's Business School, Keith Luke, Director of Economic and Community Development in Westbrook, Kathie Leonard, CEO of Auburn Manufacturing, and Chip Morrison, President of the Androscoggin County Chamber of Commerce. All right, Kathie, I'm going to start with you. Issue number 3. Is this suit a good fit for Maine businesses? A Florida federal judge has issued a ruling on a lawsuit backed by 26 states, Maine included, calling the nation's health care reform law unconstitutional. Maine joined that lawsuit on December 20th. And Governor LePage praised the decision, saying, quote, more expensive mandates are not the answer to tackling rising health care costs. So, Kathie, I'm going to ask you to take off your political hat and just wear your business hat on this one and tell us, is this a good idea for us? Is it good for business? And what's the long-term impact, you think, for business with this?
I've had my political hat off for 20 years on this issue. I'm sort of glad you asked me, and yet you'll probably be sorry that you did. The fact is, healthcare insurance has been an issue in my business for 20, 25 years. The costs have escalated year after year after year, and no one has ever offered any help. I've felt for a long time that, well, for instance, if we were self-insured, if we were a much larger organization, we could have mitigated our costs over the years. In fact, we went with a quasi-self-insured plan for a while, with mitigated costs for a few years, but even that didn't work. It's just, what it is that those employers who do pay for health insurance are subsidizing everybody else who doesn't. And everybody knows it, and so if you're trying to protect the right for businesses to say no to health insurance and not offer the benefit, then I guess you think fighting Obamacare makes sense. From any other standpoint, if you're feeling like a responsible employer that you want to offer a benefit, then to me it does not make sense.
So from that employer's point of view and the cost containment point of view, you're saying I'm willing to trade off some. Trade off some things, including mandates, if it's going to help reduce health care costs. Sounds like.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. What are your businesses? What are your members saying?
It is the number one issue for members: the rising cost of health insurance. You know, some huge percentage of our members provide health insurance for their employees.
Aren't they the same members that voted for LePage to bring him in office too?
And people don't tell me how they vote, and it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, it is a huge problem for employers that provide it. You know, double-digit increases year after year after year after year, and one of the things that employers want, and not just in this area, but the environmental area and others, is they want consistency. We have no consistency on cost in health insurance at all. And you know, for years, the chamber has called up and said we need a national solution because state by state we can't do this alone. That said, there are plenty of things the state legislature can do, and I am very hopeful that they will get up there and do some of the things in state law that will bring our costs down relative to other states. Everybody's costs are too high. Ours are just a little higher than everybody else's.
John?
Over 500 organizations have asked for waivers from Obamacare already. They tend to be the larger organizations. So the smaller firms, the backbone of our economic society, are left adrift. The other thing is you have a lot of other large employers who have not asked for a waiver but are quite willing to pay the fine and just drop health care for their employees. So I'm not so sure how this is a solution, particularly for small firms. You're left out there to the cold.
Keith?
I think that my concern, I think I fall in line with Chip. I think that the states, particularly the very small states like Maine, have been waiting, and I think we've recognized that it will take a federal solution to help alleviate the high costs of health care in Maine. One of my concerns about the lawsuit as it exists with regard to the individual mandate is that it becomes a distraction to the administration.
I guess that's the question I have, Is it really going to help us do the things you were just talking about, really help Augusta
focus on... And I have a question.
what
We're concerned with our budget here in the state. How much is that going to cost us? Has anybody asked that question yet?
They have.
How much are we going to spend on this, fighting it?
That the Attorney General's allowed. But,
think how much money you could save by not doing it.
All right, they're listening. All right, I'm going to move on to issue number 4. John, I'm going to start with you, and this one's called Reading the Tea Leaves. Is the recovery real? In the January in Mainebiz, they asked 5 economists to give their predictions of Maine for 2011. The predictions for economic recovery range from promising to anemic. The best guess on the chances of a double-dip recession range from nearly 0 to 40%. So my question here is, what do you think's in store for 2011? Is the recovery real? We seem to be moving it, and what could derail it?
Well, a couple things. Well, I'm not so sure it's all that real. You have a lot of corporations sitting on a great deal of cash that they haven't spent yet, which is slowing down the recovery. No one wants to talk about, dare I say, inflation.
Yep.
The inflation word is out there, and the Europeans are much more concerned about it than we are. And I think that could easily derail what's going on. I think, you know, to use, forgive me, an economist term, it's a soft recovery at best, and it can snap out like that.
Okay. Keith?
On Main Street, I think we've got a new concern that's emerged over just the last few days. I think that distant as it seems, the Egyptian revolution could have a very real impact on heating oil, on gas prices, and that could hit us before the end of this winter.
And that's the thing with me with this recovery. It is so kind of tentative, and any kind of thing like that could really hit it. Yeah. How about from just right at the business level?
Well, at the business level,
are you feeling confident this year?
I am.
Okay.
Of course, I'm an optimist.
Good.
All the way through,
Good.
but I do feel confident about this year. Even 2010 was good for us,
Good.
and I do think that the U.S. dollar coming down somewhat, which it's done in the past year, has helped tremendously in boosting exports. Exports are about a quarter of my business, and that's growing, and we pay a lot of attention to that, and that's what a lot of Maine businesses want to do. We don't want to be just selling within the state. We want to sell outside the state. So the U.S. dollar, that's very important to me, and of course that has to do with currency manipulation in other countries. I actually think the Fed is doing a real good job with this QE2 program, and I think they've got inflation sort of under control as well at this point.
Well, we'll see. Good.
Yep.
Okay, so we got cautious, more cautious, pretty bullish. Where do you say?
Yeah.
Where do you stand?
Cautiously optimistic. I think
took the middle
we're in
ground.
the middle.
Yep.
Your members are holding on to, with John, they're holding on to some of their capital. They're kind of wait and see.
Yeah.
Things have been, 2010 got better as the year went along. They're looking to see that in 2011. What Kathie said is mirrored by a number of our manufacturers. Dollar coming down, exports from our manufacturing sector are going to pick up. We should see some pickup in manufacturing.
Okay.
Alan, can I add one thing? I think another bit of good news is that retail vacancy rates are down. In our city and Westbrook, our retail vacancy rates have dropped significantly over the last couple of years.
We've been hearing that too in the Mid-Coast. There are almost no vacancies at all for retail, so that's a good sign. Okay.
Well,
let me wrap this segment. I'm running out of time. We're going to keep you around. We're going to talk more about this, but also we're going to come back and we're going to talk about, I want to get your opinions on DECD. What should happen with the Department of Economic Community Development? We've got a new governor, new commissioner, lots of opportunity. I know we have some strong opinions about that, so we're going to ask you in our Afterthought segment. You can catch more of this discussion in our exclusive Afterthought segment seen only on the web. Just go to the new Mainebiz website at mainebizsunday.com. We'll be right back with some final comments.
Mainebiz Sunday is made possible in part by funding provided by the Finance Authority of Maine.